What's up, good people? How you doing? Welcome back to Stock Up with Larry Jones. Go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell, just like it suggests at the bottom. Okay, guys, you know I'm available on all social media platforms, but I will never, ever DM you. Okay, if you get a DM from me, it's fake. All right, even if it looks like me, it's fake. Don't do it. All right. All right, let's get right into it. We got a lot to get into. I want to look at the market and discuss something that's more important than an individual stock. And that is where we are in the market without charts, without anything else, simply based on historical data, it being an election year and it being this type of an election year, which is even different. We're going to talk about stocks and crypto. Okay, so make sure you check out the links below, of course, blah, 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 blah. Let's get out of that window and let's go over here. I want you guys to look at this, okay? So here we are right now, and we're about an hour and 45 minutes before close when I shoot this. So it may change depending on what time you watch this, right? So we could see that it's mixed. We can see that the Dow is down 200 points, big deal. We can see that the S&P is down 1.5 points, flat. We'll call that, and the NASDAQ is up 12 points. We'll call that flat, okay? And the Russell is coming up. But I want you guys to look at let's go to the VIX and see the volatility. Is it rising? And it is. Volatility, the VIX is rising. It's now 22. And why is it rising? We don't know who's going to be the president according to these distorted polls. Okay? You don't have to leave a comment. I just said distorted polls. All right? Don't go. We don't believe in the polls. All right? We got to have something to go in over. I agree with you. All right? So look, it's mixed. And when he was winning, some of the stock like DJT and Bitcoin was going one way. And then it shows her closing in the polls. Then it starts going another way. What is the S&P going to do? Is it going to close at 6K? Or, all of these questions that we have. And when the market is cooling off and there's indecision, which we knew what was coming, then it causes you to start being an emotional trader. And I don't want you guys to be caught in that this year. Okay. Stock market today, Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, all of that braces for what? Election. The big news for today is there's an election tomorrow, and that is weighing heavily on the stock market. Don't get it twisted. And even more so, it's weighing on crypto. Now, I got something that I want to play for you, but I just want to point you in the right direction. You should always do your due diligence so you can make a conscious decision based on your own stock and crypto. I just come and do a ton of research to help you make a conscious decision. All right, let's go.
Chris, let me turn to you. We were just mentioning some of your chart work of the morning. Actually, the really cool one is about the Senate. Yep. And why it's important, especially since some of the polling suggests that might be the most certain outcome of the week.
I think so. So everyone asks us, who's going to be in the White House? Well, we turn to them and say, listen, you don't need to know who's in the White House, because if you look at who controls the Senate, that's where the favorable returns come from. And a GOP-controlled Senate, over a 2-year period, those are some of your better returns. And we think that's because the GOP is more focused on the economy. They're more business friendly, lower taxes, less regulation. And so it's much more friendly to the equity market. And that's the most important thing. The other stuff is just really hard to predict, and I think will come down to the wire.
But you think the historical trend of S&P up 6 months after any election, it still makes sense?
It makes sense. And what we also have is we have a Fed easing cycle. So typically 12 months after the Fed starts cutting, you do see equities up. And so now we have some certainty with the president. We know who's in Congress, and we have the Fed lowering rates. And that's a pretty good thing. And as you were talking about, the economy's not bad.
You don't need to know who's controlling the White House, who's controlled the Senate. I showed you guys a chart of that, something lining with what this gentleman said, and he is absolutely right. And he also said, of course, we have the Fed decreasing interest rates, And that's good for the overall market. So the market will be okay. But look at the time frame, 6 months afterwards. The question is, what are you purchasing now? Or what will you be purchasing after the election? And are you prepared for red days so you can have green days 6 months later? Or will you run from the red? Okay, we're supposed to buy fear and sell greed. Now, listen to our buddy, Mr. Tom Lee, and where he is on the market even today.
Toss up, and it's going to be a very close election, and something our clients are preparing for, because we did a survey last week. 76% don't think we'll have a winner declared election night, and 43% roughly expect it 1 week after. So I think markets are kind of bracing for this period of uncertainty. I think that's why many of the trades have reversed.
As the race tightens, markets are uncertain. The stock market does not like uncertainty. It likes to know who won regardless. And I agree again with Mr. Lee. Remember that commercial? No, that cartoon, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lee. All right. All right. You can't say things like that these days. You don't even know what you're saying and getting in trouble. All right. Let's that cartoon, I used to like it, but I don't even know. All right. Let's talk about where Mr. Lee, Tom Lee, thinks the market is. I'm cracking myself up.
Because the elections, that's sort of what you hear about Wall Street. Elections don't really matter anyway. So if it is gridlock, which we don't know, but more likely, I think the odds are on that too. So you're still bullish.
Yeah, I'm bullish only in the sense that election uncertainty has caused people to de-risk and cash to sit on the sidelines, but the fundamentals have been good. Earnings season's been very good. The Fed is dovish, and I don't think it's going to matter who ends up in the White House. Even if it's split Congress or a sweep, I think markets do pretty well either way. So it sets up for a really good rally into year end. But when it starts in November is just what we don't know.
So I agree with Tom Lee. And then we do know that Warren Buffett sold a quarter of his remaining Apple shares. OK, I just think that part of that is, he has like $300 billion in cash in Berkshire Hathaway. I believe that's correct. And that's a lot of cash on the sideline. And he can get 5% on that right now. But at the end of the day, as rates continue to fall, eventually he's going to have to deploy that capital, and it's coming back into the market. So that's freaking people out, but we don't really know the reason why. All right. So for some, it's a sign that the market is going to crash or sell off, have a huge sell off, and he's risk off. Well, he sold this year. He did a lot of selling, right? And he has a lot of cash. So yes, he is risk off. That's apparent. But why? Okay, but why? And so we shouldn't run in fear. But he was selling some of his stock too early, just like some of the big companies, some of the funds were selling off NVIDIA before the run up. So they don't always get it right. All right. So my question to you is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Now, I'm going to take a few minutes and cover cryptos. For those of you that's in stock, don't leave, because I got a question to ask you. And that's the main reason of this video. Right. So former President Trump has seen his odds of winning the election drop from 67%. You see that? You see that? And then Vice President Kamala Harris has risen 39%, 33% over the same period. So this is what this is saying, that hers has risen and his has dipped and fallen, right? But you could see where it crossed that right here. This is what this is showing, all right? But look at this, good people. Now, I showed you guys the article about a month ago that if he wins, Trump wins, that Bitcoin could go to 80K, and that if she wins, it could drop down as low as 40K. But like I showed you guys on yesterday, this report is the one that I agree with the most, as you can see. All right, here's how Bitcoin will react if Kamala wins. All right, Bitcoin volatility, blah, 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 blah. Go right here. Bitcoin's key support level is 68.9. This was a few days ago. A breakdown could lead to an 8 to 13% correction. Okay, so that means an 8 to 13% fall. All right, so just get ready. While a bounce could push the price beyond 80K. So we got this volatility, one in the same breath. At the end of the day, good people, crypto will be okay regardless of who wins, just like the stock market. That's what's going to happen. Just like the stock market, there is no way that the stock market is going to go up and crypto is just going to be down. Remember, crypto was on this trajectory before Trump started endorsing it. I did do some buying yesterday. That's going to be in the video that came. I am fully in my positions, but some of these came back down to my buy range, so I purchased them. All right. So there's one other thing I want to show you about crypto that's really, really cool that I want you guys to pay attention to. Now, I shared this last night on the video that's previous to this. All right. So look at this, good people. This chart shows you the halving and the election, the halving and the election, the halving and the election. So here we had the election first, right? And then here we had the halving first, halving. 2012, 2016, 2020, and now the 4-year cycle of the halving. So clearly you could see after the election and the halving, there was a huge bounce up, right? You see that level of support. Same thing, halving, election, huge bounce up. You see the peak of the bull run, and you could see where it literally always supersedes the bull run prior, right? So now we had the halving win at the beginning of this year, and tomorrow is the election. So what is next? The bounce up, which has not happened. Okay, it hasn't happened. Now, one of the things I will show you, and I will argue that is true with a lot of Bitcoin guys, is you had a bigger move in 2012, less of a move in 2016, and even less of a move in 2020. So don't expect to see these huge spikes up right away. I don't know, but I do expect to see a spike up regardless of who wins. Hopefully that shed some light on those of you that did not see yesterday's video. So in closing, what are you going to do with your stock and or crypto? What are you going to do based on the information I just shared with you? Are you going to hold? Are you in fear? Me personally, I do believe that November we will see a bounce. And just like the gentleman said, we may not know who the winner is. We may not know who the president is this week. And this is the day before the election. Then again, it depends on the numbers. We could know by tomorrow. We don't know. What I know is I have a plan, and my plan is I've been buying, like I've been sharing with you guys. I've been buying. I've been buying ETFs and individual stock, which I've been sharing with you guys. The question is, what are you doing? And I don't really care. I'm going to buy a little Palantir. Now, Palantir is reporting win or lose whether it goes up or down. If it goes down, I'm simply going to buy more because down the road, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, I'll be happy I made these, barring a correction or a crash or recession. I'll be happy that I made these moves now. And the same with crypto. I have 100% of my crypto already in. But because of the cool off on yesterday, I did some more buying. Let me know what you think, okay? And then check out the links below. Mumu is having a competition, and that competition, one of the prizes is like $10,000 for a paper trading competition. That's going to be the top link below in this video. Okay. Hopefully something I shared with you will help you in your trading journey. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell. Make sure it dings for all. We will see you tomorrow. Live, love, laugh, and learn.